The word culture is very hard to define. There are over 7 billion personal definitions of the word, each different from the other. Culture is defined as a collection of characterizing human experiences, and each human alive today experiences culture in varying ways. So, when I was asked to share my personal experience with a culture, the first thing that came to my mind was my own genetics. My mom's side of the family is vastly Scandinavian, but mostly Norwegian. Because of this, I grew up surrounded by pieces of Scandinavian culture, the most memorable of which being the Norwegian art form Rosemåling. Overall, everyone on this earth has a very different experience with the concept and relevance of culture, and Rosemåling is an artifact of a culture that is near and dear to my heart. Traditional Rosemåling originated in the rural valleys of Norway in the mid-1700s. It was developed and spread by lower-class artists who specialized in the art form. It was most commonly painted onto wood using floral designs and primary colors. 3 distinct styles of Rosemåling became identifiable and were then named after the regions from which they originated: Hallingdal, Rogaland, and Telemark. By the 1800s, the popular art form was well established throughout Scandinavia, and it continued to spread. At the peak of Rosemåling's popularity in the mid-18th century, these artists were commissioned to travel throughout Europe and decorate churches and homes with the ornamental designs. The art form continued to travel with Norwegian immigrants and artists, and it eventually made its way to North America. Today, it is uncommon to find Rosemåling painted onto churches or homes in North America. But growing up, my mom's house was covered in the folk art, and it now reminds me of home. Now, don't get me wrong, I do not identify as Norwegian. I was not exposed to very much culture growing up, Norwegian or otherwise, and I am made up of many more European countries. I chose Rosemåling because it is one of the only pieces of my cultural identity that I have had a personal experience with. Since before I was born, my mom's side of the family has strongly identified as Norwegian and Swedish. My mom has collected aspects of Norwegian culture throughout her life, and I grew up surrounded by it. My family has spent many Christmases making lefse, wassail, and krumkake together, and each family home has been decorated with Rosemåling for as long as I can remember. One of my grandmother's best friends even makes traditional Rosemåling and gives her pieces as gifts, still today. So, needless to say, my family life has been covered in cultural history, and it is still a huge part of my life. The food and the art are so much older than I am, and I can't help but appreciate the rich history that they represent. So, in the end, the beauty of Norwegian culture really is important and special to me. I was exposed to it at a very young age, and it will continue to be special to me and my family for the rest of our lives. It reminds me of my family, and it reminds me to be humble. Each culture holds so much history, which is passed on through artifacts, stories, and most of all, people. No 2 pieces of Rosemåling art are the same, just like how no 2 definitions of one's culture are the same. Culture is defined as the shared set of attitudes, values, goals, and practices that are characterized in an organization, according to Merriam-Webster. And my definition of culture is a like experience that brings you closer to a community. My definition is not wrong, nor is the dictionary's. This is the beauty of culture and the simplicity behind the weight of the concept. There are no right or wrong answers, only the beauty of human experiences.